Welcome back, everybody, to the Steve and Bobby Show. My name's Steve Williams. I'm here with Bobby Bliatu again for segment 3 of the Steve and Bobby Show. Let's get down to it on the subpoena that Trump seems to be wanting to defy.
Right. Our favorite person in the world, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is defying. He is just a defy master, and he just do what he wants.
I mean, yeah, he wants to do what he wants. Like you said, with the authoritarian government that we're living in. Like we said, more and more, if I was on the outside looking in, more and more we are starting to look like a third world country.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, seeing the big mess that is there is insane. And to see a president not want to work or collaborate with anybody else, it becomes, it's unbecoming of an American. It's unbecoming of America.
Yeah, and I've never seen a politician that just caters to his base.
Right.
That's all he's doing.
Right.
He's not interested in increasing his and to some people that's refreshing. To some people, that's refreshing. Yeah. I mean,
I've seen politicians do this as a president.
Yeah, yeah. At this
politicians,
level,
but presidency is you are the leader of our entire country.
And it's kind of embarrassing, but it's where we're at. And I kind of want to bring you guys down to speed here as to what we're talking about here. So it seems as though last year, Don McGahn, which is the special counsel,
White House counsel
to Donald Trump. He used to be. He quit now.
Former.
So he was during the Mueller investigation. He was actually called to testify. Now, what's funny here is that Don McGahn was not required to go to the special counsel. Donald Trump could have told him no, and he didn't. He told him to go ahead. Well, he kind of let the cookies out because he's a lawyer. And Don McGahn is Don McGahn. Is it Don McGahn?
Yeah.
Is he's a well-versed lawyer, owns a really big law firm. This guy's he knows what he can and can't say. And he went to Mueller and pretty much told the truth. And I want you guys to see the video because it's important that you see the video of what we're talking about first, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Well, the subpoena is ridiculous.
The president vowing to fight a subpoena calling for former White House counsel Don McGahn to testify before Congress. This after the Mueller report revealed McGahn's story of refusing Trump's order to fire the special counsel and then being ordered to lie about it.
So why is that important? It's because that's obstruction. That is obstruction of justice.
One of the three things. Yep.
Yeah. So if this turns out to, and this is, I think, the biggest threat of all the stuff that's out there that you can impeach somebody for, this is the biggest one because Don McGahn is a well-known lawyer. He's well respected on both sides. He testified with Mueller, the special counsel investigation. This is, to me, probably the most black and white thing that's in that Mueller report that can get Donald Trump impeached. What do you think?
There's a lot of stuff actually.
But I mean, this here.
This here, telling people to lie.
Yeah.
Telling people, and this wasn't the only case, but telling people to lie, or now doing what he's doing today, stopping people from going and testifying, telling people not to testify under oath, doing these things. What are you trying to hide?
Yeah.
Right? And so, he's going under the guise of it's a witch hunt.
Yeah.
We're done with it. We spent $35 million on this stupid investigation. It's over. Yeah. Which was an investigation that he was very proud of when the report was released, right?
Yeah,
I'm exonerated. It's the greatest thing in the world. Yes, put the report out there, guys. Put the report out there. And everyone's reporting that he's guilty.
They're reading it.
Wait, let me look at that thing.
They're reading it.
Why does it say? Oh no!
Wait a minute.
Hey guys, all you guys, shut up now. No one say anything.
Nobody say nothing. So why would you put subpoenas, or why would you put these letters out? Right? This letter out saying that you don't want any of your people to talk to anyone when there's nothing to hide.
Well.
You ain't got nothing to hide.
No, he thought there was nothing to hide before.
Yeah.
You know why he thought there was nothing to hide?
What?
Because he thought they were loyal.
Yeah. Yes.
He thought they would lie and have a good lie and be able to hold it through and all work together and do things.
Which is probably what he did in his businesses, because in his businesses, he was the overseer, right? So everybody in his businesses worked with him for many years. They knew what to say, what not to say. So I think he was kind of shocked about this. He doesn't really know how to you know, how to
Well,
approach
those folks,
it.
they were well taken care of. It's like, hey, lie.
Yeah.
Lie. Here's another
Cohen said it.
$100,000.
Cohen said it.
Here's $2 million.
Yep.
You can't do that here.
Can't do it in
You
this
can't do
situation.
that here. I mean, to some people you can, but for the majority of it, you cannot.
So let's take a look at of what was being asked. Let's take a look at this video here. You'll see what I'm talking about on the other side.
Who may know the most about President Trump's actions in the White House and the legality of them is said to be cooperating extensively with Special Counsel Robert Mueller. The New York Times reporting today that White House counsel Don McGahn has given 3 voluntary interviews to investigators totaling around 30 hours in all. And to help put that into perspective, a former Whitewater investigator told the New York Times that having access like this to a president's attorney would, quote, be like having the keys to the kingdom.
So I kind of wanted to bring that to remind people, because I remember when that came out and I saw that and I'm like, well, why is that such a big deal? You know, I don't, you know, and now we see so many months later why people were freaking out in the Trump campaign, like, oh, or in the Trump administration, because now because they know he wasn't going to lie. They knew it. And I think Trump knew it. And so, you know, before there was an interview, I guess he was going to do with CNN. I was actually going to listen to it. I was going to get something to eat I think this was yesterday or the day before. And he was supposed to go on CNN, Don McGahn. He was going to go on CNN, and he was called personally by Donald Trump. And he didn't, you know, he didn't show up. He didn't show up for the CNN.
What was that conversation like?
What was that conversation like?
Don, you like
Oh
me? You like me, Don? One
You know
Don
what?
to another Don.
Yeah. You know what I can do for you? You know how I can hurt, you know, oh my God.
You like your practice? You like your practice?
So I think the, you know, and this is just so relevant of what the stuff that Trump does. This is the kind of stuff that he does. And what Trump doesn't get and doesn't understand, to me, he doesn't, or maybe he doesn't care, is that you can't run the United States like you ran your businesses. You can't, because there's all these checks and balances. There's all these roadblocks, you know, that go in every decision that you make, for every hiring. Like, you know, when Trump was hiring for his manager at the Trump Hotel or Trump Atlanta or wherever he was at, he just said, oh yeah, I'm gonna hire him, that's it. You know, he didn't have to go through a vetting process. You didn't have to go through, you know, with all this stuff that he's having to go through. I bet this is a headache for him.
No, because look, when he runs his own businesses, and what he does, and so everything that he does, he gets to write the rules. And he gets to do whatever he wants. But as a president, you don't get to write the rules, right? So granted, he got a good.
These are rules already pre-written.
Well, or he writes it, right? So
as he goes.
So when you look at it now, I mean, everything that he's doing, he is finding the loopholes in which he can actually practice as if he can write the rules.
Right.
For instance, we talked about it before. He's fired all the people who were appointed and confirmed, and then so you need acting directors, and so you just get anybody who you feel like that you want in there. So then you get acting directors, and those acting directors just do what you want. They're not completely liable for absolutely everything because they're just acting directors, right? And so he gets to control them that way and says, hey, look, if you keep doing it, you might get appointed. Or, you know, this is where you get to go in the future. So he gets to dangle carrots in front of everyone's noses, right? So that's how Donald Trump likes to run things. He doesn't like a lot of the red tape that's out there. Right? Red tape is a bad thing for business folks, but some of these things are there to protect the people. And as the President of the United States of America, it is your job to protect the people.
And Donald Trump is not appointing people that are necessarily qualified. He's appointing people that will listen to what he says.
Loyal.
Right. So and he's and this is where we're going to talk about Carl Klein, which was he was a security director. And Carl Klein was the guy that he's the former security director actually, who did all the
Isn't everybody former?
Yeah. It's where he did all the security clearances. And this is where Trump this is another one of those little things where Trump can get in trouble on, because from what I hear, Trump has the authority to override any security clearance. A president has the right to override anybody's security clearance. Okay, but what was happening was there were a lot of these with Jared Kushner that is starting to put up red flags. And so we have, what's his name, Natter, the Democrat from New York, Chairman Gerald Natter of the House Judiciary Committee, who is subpoena, I always get that word wrong, Carl Klein, which was the security guy that did all these security clearances. So, and he wants to ask him, he wants to bring him, he wants to subpoena him. Well, what do you think Trump did? Trump called him, told him, no, you're not going.
Right.
Don't go, even though he's former, which is weird. If you're my former boss, I don't know how you can tell me where I can and can't go. And then, you know, and I recall that Trump was making people sign these disclosure agreements. Right. Was that during the transition or was that during the administration? I don't remember exactly when that was, but I know he was making them sign these disclosure agreements, which were illegal. Right. Because you can't do that in the government. So the government has the overall authority of the three equal branches of government. So whoever has the authority, just because one, which is the executive branch, says you can't do something, and the Congress has it, the judicial, or not the congressional, what is it?
Well, basically, non-disclosure agreements are like for businesses and so forth. When we get to the government, it's called classified intelligence, right? Classified information. And that's what we have. I mean, everyone saw the Mueller report. It was redacted based on what information can be told and what not. So people have different kinds of security clearance, which is the issue that's coming up with this one here.
Yeah.
Right?
And then also too, they're doing. I think it's Deutsche Bank, which is the only one that was willing to do business with Donald Trump. They're subpoenaing the records, and today I saw that they are now getting, I think it's 8 different officials. They're also, the House Ways and Means Committee sent a letter to the IRS formally requesting Trump's federal income tax returns. We've been hearing about that. Trump is trying to stop that. But I actually think that I think what he's doing is he's stonewalling because everybody knows that these committees have the authority to do that. I guess there was a 1924 law that gives the House Ways Committee the power to request tax returns from Treasury departments and review in closed session. So they don't necessarily have to say, hey, I want your tax returns. Hey, America, this is what his tax returns look like. You can't do that. Right. So, but
we talked about that before.
Yeah, and we discussed this. Yeah. And so these are things that, this is what happens when you go out, you guys vote, and you guys win a branch of government. This is what happens. You guys are allowed, all the questions that we all had, that we were discussing prior to this 2018 election, this is what we want, right? This is what we voted for. We put politicians in to win the House. They won the House. And now we can do that investigation. They did the same thing to Obama in 2010, right? Once the Republicans won, they had all kind of stuff. They had Benghazi commissions. They had IRS. Remember that? Where they just all these different commissions that were happening. That's what happens. That's what you get when you win election.
Well, you get that, but also what you get when we voted in Trump.
True. Very true.
I mean,
yep. You said we, as in
we, the American people.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about me.
No, we, the American people. We didn't do our job to convince everybody else not to. Yep. And then, so we all ended up voting him in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the result is a Donald Trump in the White House doing all this crazy stuff. And this is for people out there, whether you're on the side of Donald Trump or not. Okay, you have to think like this. This is the way I think about everything, right? If Donald Trump is doing it, okay, who's to say in 2020 a Democrat goes in there and does the exact same thing? Do you want that? Think about that. Do you want somebody in there to do the same exact things that Donald Trump's doing, or do you want checks and balances no matter who's in? I don't want somebody in there running this country like an oligarch or like you're part of the Communist Party. That's not what I want, or an authoritarian. I don't want that. I don't want it if it's a Democratic president. I don't want it if it's a Republican. I don't want it if it's an independent. I don't want it if it's nobody. I want to have checks and balances, and I want it to be equal on all sides.
Right. And respect the rule of law in that sense right there. Work through the process and do them. And then, of course, there's going to be situations where the law doesn't have something for it, and you address those when they come up.
Yeah.
But he's forcing this stuff.
Yeah.
He's not collaborating. He is hiding. He's defying everything. I mean,
he's finding holes in the law, too.
In business, you make everything as hard as you can when you have an opposing person, right?
Yeah.
So you just, even if you should send someone forward, no, you make the other side fight for it as hard as they can to push someone forward. And that's what costs a lot of money. Yep. And he's doing this. And I'm sorry, this is the government, Mr. Donald Trump. This is the government you're talking about. And so people aren't going to sit by and go, oh, it's going to take too long. Oh, it's going to cost too much. You guys, those groups have the funding, and they're going to push forward. and you are wasting it by not collaborating. If you are innocent, or if you just come up front, okay? There might be something here that doesn't look right, but it's right, and go through that piece. But my goodness.
Yeah, the craziness that's going on here.
You're getting yourself into much more trouble.
Waters.
Okay? And I said this from the beginning. Like, when he has advice from his counsel to hide things and do things, which I said you wouldn't find anything on collusion in Russia.
Yep.
But the mistakes that he made by hiding that collusion or conspiracy to work with folks, by hiding that stuff, and when things come out, his reactions, he doesn't have anyone to confide in, which causes him to make more mistakes.
Yeah, because
that's what he's going to get in trouble for.
And then you have all these departments that are empty. They don't have heads of these departments, so you don't have people to make decisions. Whether it's in the Intel committee, whether it's in all these departments. So he's basically just calling all the shots.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, yeah, and then later, 5 years down the line, people are going to say, when did that happen?
No way that happened.
How did that happen? Like, for instance, Special Olympics funding getting cut.
Oh, yeah, when did that happen?
3 years later, when people start asking, why aren't we having it? Well, because the school can't fund it no more.
Yep.
When did that happen?
Yep, didn't pay attention.
Nope. So there's a lot of stuff, you guys. And so, you know what? We weren't planning on talking about the Mueller report in one of these things, but you know what? We're going to come back in the next section, and we're going to talk about the Mueller report. We're going to talk about what we think, and I want you, if you can, please chime in and try to give you some ammunition. As you know, the Mueller report is just something to argue about with folks. We'll see what Congress does with it. Hopefully we move forward with impeachment, but we want your opinion. Thanks for tuning in to Steve and Bobby Show on Mad Talk TV shows. We'll catch you on the other side.